I was also at an NBA game last night, and the vibes were not as good in Memphis as they were in New York. I have a lot to talk about there. Obviously, kept a close eye on Ja Morant and his interactions with his coaches, his teammates, all of that. Can't wait to talk about that. Joel, tell me, the Grizzlies should trade Ja Morant. Is that an overreaction, underreaction, or proper reaction?
I think it's a proper reaction. I think his value around the league is shot, and nothing that you're going to get back in a John Morant trade package is going to be worth trading the talent that John Morant is.
100%. I love everything you just said. Before I talk about Fitz and him moving on or being traded or not, I want to talk about what I saw last night. And what I saw last night was a team with no soul, a soulless, lifeless team. And I'm not going to sit here and point the finger at Ja, point the finger at the coach, or point the finger at people who have walked out that door on the Grizzlies. It's a combination of things. And I got there an hour and a half early, and it was specifically to see Ja Morant's individual warm up. And what I saw in that was a guy who was visibly upset with what has went on over the last week, but would not crack a smile, and it felt like it was on purpose. There's a lot of people, especially in a small town like this, that everywhere he goes, it's going to go viral on Twitter, even the smallest stuff he does, if he's going to the grocery store, whatever it is. But he was aware of that. And even when his daughter was hugging him, playing basketball with him, he purposely did not smile. And I don't know if that was for attention. I don't know if that's a cry for help, but what it is, Draymond Green said something that was interesting. And I never, ever referred to his podcast really on this show, but what I thought he said was interesting. They played the Grizzlies about a week and a half ago, and him and Steph Curry had I think it was a conversation on the flight after they had played the Grizzlies, and was like, do you think he is quiet protesting this offense? And Curry was like, I think that's exactly what's happening. I think that's what's happening as well. The problem is all of this coach versus Ja stuff has started due to the front office and obviously due to Ja's lack of leadership, due to his comments to the media. But this all started over a year ago when Taylor Jenkins got kneecapped by his own general manager. Taylor Jenkins was coming off a 26-win season when the entire roster had been injured, and he was forced to fire all of his assistants, and the general manager handpick each guy to put next to him. One of those guys was Noah LaRoche, who was an assistant for the Grizzlies last year and installed a completely new offense and was paid seven figures as an assistant by a franchise who does not spend money on roster construction. They were willing to spend that bread on Noah LaRoche for that offense. They had a great offense. Ja didn't like it. And ultimately, because he didn't know what was going on, he blamed Taylor Jenkins for that, and that relationship ended up suffering from it. Taylor Jenkins obviously was fired ultimately. And the guy another guy who they had brought in was Tomas Isolo. They had a bidding war with him and the Washington Wizards to bring him in as an assistant, and he ends up getting the job. And I understand in Europe, calling out star players works, but in Europe, the difference between a star and a role player there is a lot smaller than the difference between a star and a role player in the NBA. Ja was wrong for what he did. He has taken somewhat accountability. He hasn't shown leadership in it, and he didn't show leadership last night. I'm not going to sit here and be the Ja Morant fan acting like he's doing everything right. He's not. He was not high-fiving teammates. He was not talking to his coach at all. He was not smiling in warm-ups. He was not playing with that joy. However, this is a year-plus long process, and because the general manager has now blamed the coach, and after firing Taylor Jenkins, it was blame the players. Let's trade Desmond Bane. Whether you like the trade or not, that young core of Dez, Ja, and Jaren were not capitalized on. And you saw the Thunder do that correctly whenever they still had guys on rookie deals. They were able to double down and get an Alex Caruso, double down and get a Hartenstein. That didn't happen in 2022 or 2023. It tripled down on youth, and they went all in on David Roddy and Jake LaRavia and all these guys who just simply were not ready to be on a championship contending team. This is a history of mistakes that have led up to this moment. And the moment now is, like I said to begin with, this is a soulless team.
Very well said. Think OKC had Shea.
That's also
the difference.
That's also very true. But you cannot tell me objectively Ja Morant, Desmond Bane, Alex Caruso, Isaiah Hartenstein, and Jaren Jackson Jr. would not be a better team than they were in 2023.
They would have been better, no doubt.
Same with Dylan Brooks, and same with all the other guys on there.
That's really the heart and soul right there.
I'm not going to go that far.
Dylan Brooks, baby.
Dylan Brooks is not the heart and soul. he shot them out of a series. But that grit has been missing. I'm not going to sit here and lie about that.
Well, that's very well said of you. I don't know where the Grizzlies are going to go from here, what this new era is going to be, but you could get excited for the Suns' first round pick. I think that's the most exciting part about Memphis right now.
Yeah, the funny thing about Memphis too is at home they have the Oklahoma City Thunder on Sunday, and their next 8 games after that are completely brutal. They have the Mavericks Friday night at home, but I mean the Mavericks are the worst team in the Western Conference, and the Grizzlies are right down there with them. So I think that'll decide. That could be their only win for the next 7 to 8 games. So it's really concerning.